Hi, I'm Jill, Curator of Anthropology and Exhibitions here at the Boonshoft Museum of Discovery in Dayton, Ohio. Today, I'm going to talk to you about dating. And I am not talking about dinner and a movie. I am talking about figuring out how old objects from the past really are. I get calls all the time from people asking me things, what is this? How old is this? Sometimes I know, and sometimes I don't. So, how do scientists know how old something is? There are lots of different types of dating methods, so we don't have time to talk about all of them. In general, they're going to fall into two main categories: relative dating and absolute dating. We're going to go over an example of each type. Let's start with relative dating. Relative dating will give us a sequence of events, but it will not give us a fixed calendar date. So that means when you do a relative dating technique, you're not going to be able to say, this is 500 years old, but you are going to be able to say, this is older than that. An example of this is stratigraphy. Stratigraphy is the study of the layers of the Earth. And we use something called the law of superposition to figure out the sequence of events. So that basically means the deeper you go in the ground, the older something is. A fun way to demonstrate this at home is using a clear bag or clear container and simply filling it up. I'm going to fill my bag up with some fabric. So first I'm going to put in some pink fabric, teal, purple, and then blue. Now look at these different layers. Which layer did we put in first? The pink. So this is our oldest layer. Which layer did we put in last? The blue. So this is our newest layer. That's how stratigraphy works. Now we're going to move on to absolute dating. Absolute dating techniques give us a date based on a fixed calendar. That means we get something back like this object is 500 years old. What we think about most often when we're dating things from the past, and what I get questions about, is something called radiocarbon dating. Radiocarbon dating is a little bit complicated, so I'm going to simplify it for you. If you have questions about how this process works, we're going to put up my email contact at the end of this video, and feel free to reach out to me with questions. All right, so here we go. Everything that was once alive has absorbed carbon. So you, me, the trees, the flowers, we're all absorbing carbon at a steady rate. There are different types of carbon. Some is stable and some is not. So after a creature dies, some of that carbon starts to decay at a very predictable rate. Fast forward to a modern archaeologist digging up an archaeological site and finding a sample. We take that sample and we send it off to a lab, and they do something in the lab, magic. It's not really magic, it's science. And we figure out the ratio that's left of stable carbon versus unstable carbon. And that tells us approximately how long ago that creature died. So radiocarbon dating will only work on things that were once alive. Remember that. I'm going to give you a little bit of a quiz here to see if you can tell me, can we use radiocarbon dating or can we not? So here we go. First, I have this. This is an archaic 3/4 grooved axe. It is made out of stone. Do you think you can run a radiocarbon date on stone? No, you cannot. What about this? This is a fragment of deer bone. You can tell it's deer because it's got these kind of rolly ends right here. Do you think you can run a radiocarbon date on bone? Were deers alive? Yes, they were. You can run a radiocarbon date on deer bone. How about this? This is a fragment of early woodland pottery. Are pots alive? Culturally, maybe, but biologically, no. So you cannot run a radiocarbon date on a pot. How about these? These are carbonized corn kernels. Yes, you can. And things like corn are the very best objects to run radiocarbon dates on. Why? Because they have short life cycles, so you can get a more accurate and precise date when you run a date on something like corn. So just to review, absolute dating gives us a fixed calendar date, while relative dating gives us a sequence. Okay, stratigraphy, layers of the Earth, radiocarbon dating, dating the death of an object. We'll see you next time. Be sure to like and subscribe. Bye.